All right, and here we have the storage cases, the figure cases. Pretty much, I would think, if you are not going to be playing with your figures and you're done, or if you are just a collector, I think these are great options for you. I'm probably going to keep that Lightning McQueen one inside this case because he's that crystal, so he's a little more rare than some of the other figures, because you can only get those at Toys R Us, and then some of the other figures that might come out, but I don't really think it's much of a play option. They may still register, and I'll try that out to see if it actually does, but I'd rather just have the toys out. Alright, so pretty much all you do is you take the bottom of the storage, the display case, put one side of the figure into that notch there, and then just snap in the other side, and they snap in pretty snug. I mean, they're not going to fall out of there. I mean, that's not Spider-Woman. And if you want to get that thing out, you pretty much just squeeze on one of the sides, press up from the bottom, and then the figure will come out. But you see how it kind of takes a little bit out. So it's not one of those put in, take out, and play with it while it's in its display case. That's why it's called a display case, because you probably are not going to be playing with the figures. You bought them to collect the figures. They do have a small little notch here up at the top here, and if I take the cards, I can slide that up underneath there. So take that, kind of nudge it in there. Like that, it'll hold on to the card. You put this display case on top, and there you go. Your figures are now protected from dust. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, and you can stack them vertically. Okay, and here we have the Power Disc Capsule. I really like this thing. I just like the way this thing looks. It's very futuristic looking. Alright, so as you guys may have seen in previous videos on the unboxing of these, the little tab right there allows you to slide the plastic sleeve off. It will come all the way off. It doesn't have a stop on it, but that's okay. There's no problem with that. And then you can store each one of the discs. Now, the way I like to store them is having each one of the type with the part there facing up. I mean, they're upside down, the picture-wise, but at least you can see, all right, this is for the paint, the skin, and the skybox. These are the toys. I've got a space back here for some of the rares that I have, and then I can store both of my bands in here. Now, you can store a total of 22 discs in here, and also when you band these together, if I wanted to have, let's say, Fix-It Felix and Jack Sparrow together, stack either one of them on top, put the band on. I mean, it's fairly quick. I mean, I'm sure some people can do it quicker. And then as you're using that double buff, if you like to use that double buff a lot, then you can just store that one there. Just move these guys out of the way. And then I can take, let's say, I want to have Alice in Wonderland for the textures, and I want to have the Wreck-It Ralph skybox. I can stack those two on the top. I really don't know if you need to have these both sitting on the base at the same time. I think once you put them in there, the skybox pretty much locks itself that way. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'll figure that out when I play the game more. But and again, you can take those. But I mean, you've also got that. I mean, you can have a skybox and a toy. But I'm pretty sure that's more the way to do it, is to have the textures there and then have one of the toys there. Or you can have two toys. I wonder if I just stacked all these toys on there, I could have all the toys in there at once, but we'll figure that out the more we play. And then you can store that one there. But I really like this option. I really just like it because it's very convenient. It holds everything at the ready, and it just looks really cool. Alright, so here we have the Disney Infinity Base Protector. This is a great option if you're going to be using the base quite a bit with your kids, if you're going to be using it around a place that might see a lot of things being thrown around. Obviously you have to use the base to play, but this is an option. So let's go ahead and put the base into the base protector, and that fits nice and snug. Then this lid comes down and over, and you can have it just like that if you so choose. Nice and shiny. Or you have the option of upgrading to one of these templates. So you've got sort of a basic infinity, a little bit of sparkle. You've got sort of a villains. You've got some Monsters Inc., Incredibles, Lone Ranger. And then you've got the base characters that come with the starter set. So that, again, easily put that right on top, line it up with the circular and hexagonal areas, and that's pretty much it. And it will hold on to that nice and snug. Alright, so some things to consider with this now being your option while you're playing. One big problem that I found is if you are going to use hexagonal power discs, let's just say that we're going to take one of these paint jobs here, and I want to put that inside the hexagonal area. Still fits nice and snug. Thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and take it out. Let me see if I can get my fingernail around the edge of it. Alright, I'm going to try to grab onto this ridge right here and see if I can kind of pull it out. So we can get... Okay, so you kind of see the problem there. The base itself, because it's got a thickness for the top lid that comes down, it actually makes the well, or the part that your figure sits down on, much deeper. That's fine for your figures because you have something to grab onto to pull it back off of there. And now they fit in there nice. It holds on to them. No problems with the characters because the characters themselves have something that you can grab onto to pull them out of there. But this is going to be hard. So how about the circular discs up here? Say I'm buffing one of my characters. How do I get that out of there? You kind of see a little bit of the problem there. I mean, it's not a big problem because you could take all your characters off and just turn this thing upside down, tap, 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 and they'll come out of there. They're not stuck in there. They're just not convenient to get back out. Not quite sure why they didn't think of that. Now, let's say that I'm double stacking them, then what? Alright, so now I've got two double stack. Now, these bands come with the power disc capsule, so that way I can keep two discs that I commonly use for buffs. So I've got a bolt, and then I've got a cars in here, so if I set that on top, it doesn't sit into the well, it just kind of sits on top, and that should still work. The discs do not have to be flush with the base in order to work. And again, you can still put your character on top of that, and now he's got that kind of double buff. And the same thing with the guys in the back. So I've got the Wreck-It Ralph Skybox and then the Wreck-It Ralph skin textures. And now that I put it on there, it'll still work even though it's not sitting flush down onto the base. But now I can kind of easily take that out of there. So doubling it up is the way to go. And again, there are no problems with the play sets because the play sets again have something raised that you can grab onto and take it out of there. But overall, I think the base protector is a good option if you're going to be playing with a lot. If you want to have sort of a themed base, that's also an option to go for. So a good option. Just be aware of some of the things you may have to face when using this product. Otherwise, I highly recommend it because I bought it. Alright, and here we have the Play and Store. Easily store all of your characters inside one of these two trays. The box set comes with two. I highly recommend getting two of these boxes so that you'll have 4 trays. That will fit pretty much all of your characters nicely. Alright, so if you're going to use this with your base, you'll take your base. You can see up here at the top there's a notch that will allow you to slide your base in. It's got a notch here for your cord, and then there are snaps on this side and on the other side that will hold on to your base, so as you're playing with it, your base won't slide out as easily. And you can see your figures fit on there nice. It doesn't slide out of there easily. It will slide out if you pull on it, but it won't slide out with you just taking characters on and off of there. Okay, so that is the Play and Store. That's some basic ideas of what that does for you. Now, I've had questions by one of the viewers for when I did an unboxing of all these accessories. What if I want the base protector and I want to use it with the Play and Store? Well, if you get the base protector and you're using the Play and Store, it will not fit. So let's go ahead and place this guy inside the base protector. Alright, so now I have the base inside of the base protector, and it will not fit into that slot because it is now too thick to fit into that slot. So what are my options? I can still lay it on top. It won't fall down. I can put my characters on top, no problem. But if you want to take your characters off, there is a chance that taking them out of there will shift this around, because it doesn't take much for this to slide around on the top of that Play and Store. So one thing that I've done to fix this so that you can have the base protector, protect your base, and still use the Play and Store. Now here's what I've done. I've already got it installed here on the bottom part of the base. I've taken a little bit of tubing, and pretty much all it is I've used some weather seal. This is just laying around the house. You can go out and buy any kind of tubing that's got a good grip to it. So if you're just going to get another piece of plastic and put it in there, it won't hold on to it. But as you saw before, the base would slide on the top if you pushed it around. But with this having a little bit of grip on there, I can push the base around and it'll actually push the Play and Store around with it. And you won't get this thing sliding off as easy. Now, you can take it off and put it right back on, and it won't slide around. You can push the base around from the back, from the front, and it's not going to slide around on you. Now, if I didn't have that little strip in there, and it's got a little bit of adhesive on it, so it'll kind of hold itself in there, and you can trim it to fit. If I didn't have that on, and I put it on top of the base, if I push just a little bit, it's going to move the base off, and your base will come off completely. Now if I press it the other way, sure, it's not going to come all the way off because of the way the base protector is designed. But it will come off easily. It will slide around a bit. So I highly recommend, if you're going to use the Play and Store with the base protector, go ahead and add just a little bit of some stripping on there, some weather stripping, anything that's got a good grip to it, and that'll solve your problem with being able to use your base protector with the Play and Store. Okay, so this is the Play Zone. The Play Zone is a carrying case. It has everything in it that you need to get a game going and to keep a game going. It will stow your base, it will stow cards, it will stow the power discs, and it'll stow your figures. It won't stow all of your figures and it won't stow all of your power discs, but it will stow quite a bit just to get your game going. So let's take a look at inside. Alright, something you have to consider when you're using this is the way that you open and the way that you close it. Now, the figures actually move around while you're opening this up. So, your flap here, I've got an actual base that's stored in here. I've got the 3DS base stored inside this pouch. You can actually stow your base inside here, the larger base, but I'll show you what I've done in this case. And there's a smaller pouch here that I use to stow the cards. Everything fits nice and snug in there. Now, as you're opening this up, this piece should stay vertical, and this is just a recommendation. I recommend keeping this piece vertical, laying this piece out, because you can see how your figures kind of stand up in there. And since you're going to be carrying it with the shoulder straps up here on the top as you're walking around, that's pretty much how your figures are going to lay. So if you have them oriented this way, they'll pretty much stand on their bases. They're going to move around, that's inevitable. They're going to bang up around in there, but I'll show you how you can adjust everything. But lay it out. And I've just got a couple of other figures here. I've got Lone Ranger, Lightning McQueen, and Barbossa. They're just on standby here. All right, so as you can see, you've got quite a bit of room in here. You've got a nice plastic covering to keep the dust off. And now all the characters are laying flat on their back. You've got 2 zippers on either side. You've got the Velcro, open those up. And now you can access any of your play figures, any of your play sets, and then your base is here. You got a nice holding storage there for the cable. Again, that's a 6-foot cable. I highly recommend getting the extension so that you can extend that by 12 to a total of 12 feet. You can see you've got little spots right here, so I can take out one of my play sets. I can have it on standby. I can have my figures sitting here on standby. And then the playset, the base itself is here ready to go. So I can take any of my figures out that I want to have playing. And if you guys can see how I've got each of these pieces oriented, I've got the type that it is facing up. I've got the things I'm going to use most commonly to buff the characters. And then I've got some of the play toys here, and then I've got the paint in the back, which I may not use as often. So nice, accessible. Pull one of those out. Put it down, take the character in order to buff them, have the play set ready to go, place that on there. If I want to get the paint going, place the paint, and then have all those worlds. I mean, everything in there is ready to go. I really enjoy, again, this is ready to go to play. It pretty much does a lot of the other things that the accessories that I've already shown you do, and it's all inside this set. So again, if I'm going to store it, again, you've got some standby characters here. Playset back. Again, I recommend, this is just a recommendation, that you stand this part up vertically. You hold it there. This flap is going to come up. And you do have Velcro here and on the opposite side. Again, I'm staying vertical here with the shoulder strap piece up at the top. Got another piece of Velcro there if I want to hold it down even tighter. And then right up here in the front, I've actually got a magnet that will hold that down. Everything fits in there. Everything looks nice and presentable. And that is your play zone.